Welcome back to Sunrise. Good morning to you, wherever you are. 20 minutes going up to 8 o'clock on this fine Monday morning. It's January 13. Hey, January 13. Good morning and happy birthday to Judah Campbell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Son.
He's 6 years old. He's my godson,
Stop.
actually. He's my godson.
Judah is 6?
6 years old.
I remember when Judah was in his mother's belly.
Yeah.
How, 6 years?
But hold on, Judah born exactly 3 months before Jackson.
I'm going to run.
Yeah, Judah. Good morning, Judah.
Hi, Judah. Mwah, mwah. Happy birthday.
Blessings. Good morning.
From your lovely daddy. I love Marlon, you know.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, man.
Money Tree crew, you know.
Yeah, man. Originally, remember that?
Original Money Tree.
Yeah, and a big psychologist mother. Good morning.
I gotta tell you.
Good morning.
Right,
yeah, big up yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so we are excited to have this next conversation.
That warms my heart.
Yeah, literally. The chair of the Heart Institute of the Caribbean Foundation with us today. She's here to empower Jamaican women, particularly, to prioritize their health. Dr. Dania Boy is going to help us discuss that relationship between heart health and overall well-being. She's going to share some lifestyle changes that you might want to consider and highlight the importance of early detection. So let's dive into this important conversation on the heart of health care or self-care. Right. Good morning, Dr. Ball. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Ball. How are you?
I'm well.
Welcome. I love this topic, and I'm really, let me say, thankful to you for your specialty, and of course, focusing on women, and of course, the men matter, and we love them, but a lot of us women find ourselves, you know, in positions where we're caring for everybody else, and oftentimes we leave ourselves behind. So talk to us about why should we even care about heart health?
Well, because without your heart, you're not alive, right? And so the real truth is that for women, we have, especially in our older years, as much heart disease as men do. It presents differently. It presents sometimes silently. And so in the media, in the popular culture, we tend to think of heart attacks, for example, as somebody clutching their chest and bending over. And for women, sometimes it's fatigue. You're just tired. You can't make it up the stairs and you wonder, I wonder what's happening. Sometimes it's nausea and vomiting. And so because it's so subtle, oftentimes women don't even realize there's a problem until it's late.
And sometimes you mistake it for other things.
You mistake it for gas being the big one. And so part of what I want to do is to make it clear that women do have heart disease. Women have increasing heart disease as we age. And so it is something that we should be mindful of when we're talking about all the other things we think are women-related diseases.
Why do the symptoms present so differently between men and women?
Sometimes it's just how the vessels are. So women, for example, can oftentimes have inferior disease, and so where the blood vessels are, it actually is sitting right there, kind of at the bottom of your heart by your stomach. So nausea, vomiting is one of the things. Size of the vessels matter. And then, you know, hormones actually play a role too in presentation, that it may not be a blockage. It may be something like heart failure. It may be as our lipids, our cholesterols go up. So even though, you know, man and woman, we're human, sometimes the physiology is a little bit different based on, you know.
I'm curious because I'd like to know, for instance, you said that it may be a silent symptom, but it's there because we tend to think of the grandiose symptoms that we see on TV, but they could be there silently. But to say that it's silent does not mean that it's not there.
Absolutely.
How can we listen to our heart
and listen to our bodies?
I think really valuing our health in a different way is the first thing. Like, what I know people do is unless something hurts them, then it's not a problem. They don't check it. Unless your head aches, you don't think that your blood pressure is a problem. And so part of the mission of doctors, particularly me, who I'm preventive, you should be checking frequently. You should be seeing,
How frequent is frequent, Doc?
I'd say minimum once a year, you should have a complete physical exam. That means you should have your blood pressure checked. You should get weighed and measured so we can see whether or not
Is that once a year you should have a heart screening, or once a year we should be including a heart screening in our female or male executive profile?
Correct.
Okay.
So you should actually be sitting down with a doctor who should be going over several things for you. Review of systems. So are you having this? Are you having that? Are you having the other? And then that provides you the opportunity to tell them what symptoms you're having or not. There's a point where perhaps you should be having your cholesterol checked. And after you have your cholesterol checked, then we will decide what frequency you need to continue to have that checked. So unless we have your baseline, we won't be able to tell you, you need to be back in 3 months versus 6 months, versus come and see me next year for your physical exam, right? So pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, all those things are crucial parts of how we determine maintenance of health and recommendations.
Let me just ask, Doc, in terms of family, because genetics does play a part in it.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about persons who have a history of heart disease in their family. How should they treat with it, and at what age? Because sometimes we tend to think that these tests are for old people. And some young and vibrant and up.
Yes.
So that's not our concern. At what age would you say we should start introducing these tests and making these inquiries so we know our numbers?
All right. So I would say 35. I just think across the board. Okay. And Jamaicans in particular, I notice, are having earlier and earlier heart disease. Why? Because we have early high blood pressure. So family history of high blood pressure, definitely family history of diabetes, family history of early heart disease such as a heart attack. If your mother was less than 55, that gives you risk that we should be monitoring, and father less than 65 gives you risk that we should be monitoring. If at any point you've been told that your blood pressure is elevated, that needs to be monitored. If at any point you've been told that your blood sugars are elevated, even if it was during pregnancy, that needs to be monitored. And so I spoke with somebody just yesterday, and it's a Sunday, and when I'm hearing her mother died at 41, diabetes-related complications. Her father died at 57. He was also diabetic, and then he had a massive heart attack. And my first question to her was, have you been screened? And so it's really important that we know our family history, and then we use that to determine our screening, and then we know our own numbers. Cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure are minimum.
Doc, we have to go, but I have to ask you this. Where do people go to get these done? Because some people are sitting down like, boy, Doc, I never thought about it. But where do I go? Where can we make the appointment now?
Heart Institute of the Caribbean, 23 Balmoral. It's the white building on Balmoral.
On the left side going down.
On the left side going down. 876-906-2105 through 8. And for anybody who wants to hear more about health and wellness related issues, we have a huge conference coming. At least 19 professors from Yale University and all over the U.S. coming down to have an exchange of ideas. It's called Masters of Medicine, and it's coming up this week. So
where, Doc? Tell us.
It's at the Pegasus Hotel.
Yes, what time?
And it starts at 8 o'clock every morning, and the first topic is about AI, artificial intelligence, and how you can use it to actually improve your health, and also how not to rely on it too much. So, and that's open to the public.
Oh, when is it starting?
It is starting at 8 o'clock on the 18th, on the 18th of January, and we will be looking for you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, guess what, guys? We're going to try our best to be there and bring you the information. Because, guys, listen, right? As I've often said, if we don't pay attention to our wellness, we may be forced to pay attention to our illness. And at the top of the year, we have to know our numbers, and we have to get over the fear, because ignorance is bliss, right? But listen, you need to know your numbers. And we want to thank Dr. Ball for sharing with us this morning.
Appreciate it.
Right now, I'm going to call my cardiologist afterwards.
Thank you.
That appointment. A word to the wise is sufficient. All right. He who have ears, let him hear.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baugh, Dania Baugh, co-founder and president of the Heart Institute of the Caribbean. Mic check 1, 2, mic check 1, 3 is up next. And that was definitely a heart-to-heart. We're going to take a break. And when we return, please, we have much more. So stay tuned. It is Sunrise.